I have a small quiz for everyone. I'm going to give you 2 clues. One of them, the engineering company was called West Coast Customs. And the second one is this picture. I'm sorry. You guys have the wrong PowerPoint. I need you to change it, please. Anyway, it was the show where a car, like the one I showed you in the last slide, was transformed into this car. And anyone has that a guess? Huh? Man, you guys are too smart. I was hoping that it would take a few guesses to get there. But I love that show for a couple of reasons. I mean, it's a car makeover show, right? You take one car, however beat up, however messed up it is, and then you convert it into something that is of so much value that, you know, even if it was a 1992 Honda Civic, you can change it into something everyone would want. Now, I probably love that show so much because I myself am a product of a makeover. Some of you may not know this, but I lost my mom when I was 4 years old. And she was my best friend. And everything kind of went downhill from there. By the time I was to go into primary school, sad, depressed kid, antisocial, and primary school was hard, let's just put it that way. Primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, much like Topwe said, I was the strongest guy in the class. And you know why? Last position, I carried everybody consistently. 36 out of 36. But that was before I met my makeover artists, Miss Laoshun and Miss Owolano. Those women put so much in me that by the time I was in primary 5, I actually left primary 5 halfway to go to secondary school and finish GS1 halfway. And I still came second in that class. That's how much these people had put in me. That's how much they had changed my life story. In fact, it gets a little better. By the time I got into secondary school, you know, the principal there pretty much declared me head boy for life. So, so from GS2 all the way to SS3, I was head boy. But my makeover story is incomplete. I'm still working on being a teenage rapper like Wizkid. But I'll get back to you on that story when it's completed. Anyway, for me, it's been a, you know, moving back to Nigeria, I've seen a problem that is more mine, that I feel is mine. I mean, this whole time I've committed myself to doing makeovers in people's lives. Anybody I know, as much as I can help, I will be sure to invest as much as I can. Just to be, because people already invested in me and created a makeover. Now, for me, Africa has always been on my heart, and I'm sure like many of you as well, Africa has always been on my heart, and I thought, you know what, I studied abroad, I need to move back home, and I need to start doing makeovers here. But I mean, in the last 2-3 years, Africa has seen such tremendous growth. You know, we keep hearing about it in the news. Thank God that the rhetoric for Africa has changed significantly. But somehow or the other, that thing is not translating into jobs. If you are, and the question is why? If you're in the job market, you will know that with your master's degree, what do you do before you find a job? Sweat. Now, if you only have a bachelor's degree, you're on a long thing. Now, imagine if you have neither master's nor bachelor's, you don't even have any degrees. Where would you be? You are hopeless. Now, Africa has almost 300 million youth. And from a bit of, I'm a consultant by training, and, did a little bit of calculation and got up to about 53 million who are exactly like that. Poor, uneducated, unskilled, and in short, they are unemployed. If you want to categorize them, you want to use a catch-all phrase, let's use this term, unemployable. Now, every day I see people, and I see a lot of these people, and the truth is, it's lost potential. We don't know what we are losing as a country, Nigeria, as a continent, Africa. And when I say lost potential, I really, really, really mean lost potential. Because while in the West, their young people are doing this, solving problems for the biggest businesses. And they're doing that, sitting in conferences to define the policies that will govern them. Our young people are doing this and that. And that's a joke, right? But it comes back to the point of makeovers. Every single time I'm driving around in Lagos in traffic, or I'm up in Osun State, and sometimes even I'm in, some of the suburbs of Johannesburg, or in Abidjan, in Cote d'Ivoire, I see someone standing on the road begging. Hands complete, eyes complete, legs complete, no scratch. And I wondered to myself, what could this person be doing? And if that person were doing that, how much better off would we be? Simple examples of people. That's a bus conductor, that's a bricklayer, and that's a hawker. Those are decent, hardworking men who the World Bank continues to call the working poor. You work every day. What does the Fela song say? Suffer, suffer for world. You're constantly working, but there is nothing. Again, I would categorize that group of people. If you ask them, they wouldn't want to be doing what they're doing. They would want to be in more gainful employment. So I would again categorize them as unemployable. Now, how do you take somebody like this guy or any of these guys and transform them into that guy? So you go from unemployable to becoming what? An employer. 2 steps. Well, I'm here to just, show us a little bit. I've done this sort of thing for a few years now, and I want to just share the makeover process. Step 1, brainwash. The environment that these young men and women find themselves in limits them significantly. They cannot see beyond their environment. So you have to take her or take him and show them another reality. Teach them how to create value. Let them see that whenever there are problems around them, that problem can become an opportunity that they can profit from. Step 2, invest. You invest time. There are certain skills. There are 3 major types of skills, if you will. There are functional skills, so the very basic skills for writing, counting, etc. There are what we call transferable skills, skills that can leave me and enter you. For example, my friend Crystal has very high standards. If she were to spend more time with one of these sloppy plumbers who will never do things right, she would be able to get her exacting standards. She would require her exacting standards of that man, and she would get him to begin to act like that. So that's the second. You invest time. The other thing to invest is money. Put your money where your mouth is, but in small portions. In my work, we don't invest more than $700, maybe 100,000 naira at any one time. And over the period I've been doing this, it's been interesting the kind of returns that these kids can make. So again, you invest time, you invest skill, you teach them a skill, and then you teach them how to see opportunities in problems. Step 3, repeat step 2, but in increasing quantity, right? So if I give you 40,000 naira now, you turn it into maybe 60, and you say, oh, I need 250,000, and I'll give that to you again, and continue to increase until we get to a sizable amount. And again, like I said, in the time I've been doing this, I've seen in 3 months, that went away. I've seen in 3 months, on average, some of these businesses, 5 times, they quintuple whatever it is that you've given them. Trust me, your small 40,000 naira on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, however lovely it is, you will never get that amount in that period of time. Now, hopefully, as you've repeated this step over and over again, business has grown so large that it has outgrown the capacity of the person who started it. And then you can do step 4, which is to transfer. Like I like to say, I'll hire a Harvard a Harvard MBA student to come and run this person's company. Now imagine he was a what? Maybe a plumber or a bus conductor before, and now he has enough money to be able to hire a Harvard MBA. Or you can sell that business, right? And step 5, everybody goes home happy. And that had to be there. Now, this is the acronym BIRTH. And I want to, it's the makeover process, the acronym BIRTH. I want to show you an example of what we've done in the past. This young man, when he first came to us, he had actually been every single one of these. Some of you might even recognize him. I hear his name in the crowd. He had been a bus conductor, he had been a bricklayer, he had been a hawker, and many other things. But it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen without what I just described. Relevant education, business education in his case. Let them see what it is. Investment, money. He got seed to actually start. And mentorship. I mean, I want to stress that mentorship. Transferable skill. I trained as an engineer, we call it induction. If you stand beside something, you then begin to get affected by it. Now, guys, Lagos is becoming prominent in the international community. Everything we do, if we do it right, it will be amplified, right? But anything bad that happens, it will be blown out of proportion. So we need to act right. If you give me 1,000 people and we put them through this incubator, what I just described, that process is a standard business incubator that many of you are probably familiar with. But with a twist, we invest in people who would ordinarily never have nothing to do with that. If you give me 1,000 people and I put them through that incubator, and each one of them hires only 4 people, right? Where would we be in a year? Where would we be in 5 years? You can figure that out. But we need to act now. Every one of us, we need to act now. Now, I'll start with the government. As little credit as we like to give them, the government has actually been doing quite some work. Lagos State, for example, has maybe 18 vocational training centers spread out across the city. And thousands of young people go in there to learn a trade, to learn a skill, and change their lives every year. But more has to be done. We need to set up business incubators so that these young people can get the environment that they require to build businesses that will last. We need to give them platforms to be able to pitch their ideas and get funding for their businesses. And the truth is, governments will benefit greatly because as we integrate them into the formal economy, they will pay us higher taxes. Private sector. C.K. Prahalad, the author of Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid, is a now deceased professor of economics, or he was a professor of economics at University of Michigan, said that there is a $5 billion market at the bottom of the pyramid. So whereas many businesses overlook these young people, some people have been profiting. Ask MTN. In the last decade or so that they've been working in in Nigeria, they have made tons of profit on these people they call trade partners. In banks, financial inclusion, which is how to deliver financial services to the unbanked, who are still, this mass in the bottom of the pyramid. It's a hot topic in the banks. And then finally, you, every one of you in this room, start your makeover today. If you're in this room, you are more than likely more privileged than many of these young people that I'm talking about. See differently. Like the engineers at West Coast Customs who see a beat-up car and see there's the bright, wonderful future in that car. I need you to see potential in that cleaner that works at your office. Or that girl that is selling groundnut on the top of your street. I need you to see the potential, see what she can become. And then make small bets, right? Please don't give them your life savings and your 2.5 million naira. That's not what I'm asking. They will take it away and run away with it. Small bets. And finally, share what you know. You might think that you don't know enough or that you're not skilled enough, but every one of us is a sum of our life experiences. You have more than enough knowledge to share. Start your makeover today. Thank you.